Well, I had a fantastic time when I was a kid because I lived in a cul-de-sac and there were no cars going past, obviously. And we had a gang of kids in the cul-de-sac and we were all like really good pals in those days. And we lived in this most amazing setting because just to the left of the cul-de-sac was a cricket field, and then behind that was a wood, and then there was a river, and then it was open fields, and then it went into like proper fields like football and stuff like that. And I was completely surrounded by everything a kid could ever want. This is an address called 101 Queen Elizabeth Way in Woking, and I'm sort of 9, 10 years old. My parents just got this house and I'm fucking knocked out. I remember getting to this house and thinking, we've got our own house, you know, because before then we were in lodgings with other people in council houses. Me, my mum, my dad, all in one bedroom. Not funny. Well, not at the time anyway.
What about mum and dad? Is there any music in the family?
Yeah. My mum was a bad piano player, you know. She could sort of vamp. And we used to, you know, go down the local working man's club, and my dad would say to me, he'd say, you're going to take your box down. He used to call it me box, which was my guitar. And I said, no, I don't want to take my guitar down. I'm 10 or 11. And he said, well, just put it in the boot anyway. So I put it in the boot, and I'd always get down the working man's club, and they'd say, you're going to get up and do a song. And I knew Babyface, you know, it's one of my first songs that I'd ever learnt. And I used to get up down the club, and of course everybody in those days would get up and give a turn. My mum and dad would get up and sing I Hear the Sound of Distant Drums, something like that, you know. And I'd get up and sing Babyface, and I'd really enjoy it. And I won a talent contest down at the pub, the club, the working man's club. I won £5, which was an absolute fortune. My dad was, you know, he was well knocked out. And it all kind of went from there. But I had an amazing childhood. We would have everybody back to the house, and Mum would get on the piano, you know, and we would sing. And we had some Polish friends, Ted the Pole and his wife Sheila, Ted Rishrek, and a guy in Woking who's the first guy I ever knew had a Jag, and I was really impressed by that. A guy called Cyril Hack, and I loved Woking. I just loved it. And we lived on this estate, and I just had a fantastic childhood. You know, in those days, obviously, we didn't have any computers or anything electrical, you know. The nearest it got was a slideshow in the garage on one of these plastic sort of, you know, slide machines. And we would nail 3 pieces of wood together, one long, 2 short, and of course you had a machine gun then. And we'd play commandos. We had the old steel-wheeled roller skates, you know, with the straps that used to kill you. And of course on the paving stones, you know, we were forever falling over, and the germaline was rife, you know, we were covered in germaline. And we used to build these trolleys, you know, the ropes on the front, and we just had an amazing time. I couldn't fault my childhood in any way. I loved it. The only part really I didn't like about it was school. Because school got in the way of playing football and being a commando and climbing trees and making bows and arrows and stuff, you know. So I was that kid at school who had, you know, I'd learnt to play the guitar a little bit. It hasn't come on a lot, but I'd learnt to play a little bit. And I was the kid in school who would be sitting there in history or, you know, maths, looking out the window, thinking of Lonnie Donegan, and don't get me wrong, you know, thinking of Lonnie Donegan and Cliff Richard and stuff, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do was play the guitar. So I thought, well, you know, I don't have to listen at school because I don't need to learn all this shit. You know, what do I need to learn all this for? I'm going to be in a group. And that was basically how it was. And I left school at 15, and I was very pleased to leave school. I didn't enjoy it at all. I just wanted to get out on the road.